Why hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. I am Lita and you are watching Art with Lita, and today I'm going to be starting a new sketchbook. This is a Stillman & Bird sketchbook. It is the Zeta series and it is extremely smooth paper. That means that markers and watercolor will show up very well on it, but things like colored pencils and even graphite pencils are going to have a hard time. Now, I'm not the type of person to use a lot of stickers and different things to decorate the cover of my sketchbook. If I'm going to decorate the cover at all, sometimes I don't bother. It's going to be something I draw out. And I don't know, I've just had this growing fascination with dragonflies. Now, I've always loved dragonflies. Even as a kid, I would, always watch them. And I don't know, I'm just fascinated by them. And so I've decided that I'm going to be putting a dragonfly on the cover of my sketchbook. Even my Bible has a dragonfly sticker on it that I picked up. A sticker, where did I find it? I found it at a national park that I was visiting once, in the welcome center of a national park. And so I've been slapping dragonflies on things recently, so I decided I was going to slap a dragonfly on my sketchbook too. I did the initial sketch with a jelly roll white gel pen so that, I could actually see the lines. I could have done it in pencil, but the jelly roll shows up much better and much easier. And my Artix acrylic paint pen, the white color, does not work. You can see the little piece of scrap paper on the side there. You see all that white that's on the scrap paper? That was me trying in vain to get my marker to work. I don't know what happened. I don't know if maybe the cap was a little bit loose. So the next best thing was a very, very pale yellow. And I put that down so that the colors can show up easier. And as usual, I'm making no attempt at realism here. I want this thing just to look pretty and whimsical and very artsy, as my daughter would say. I have tried to choose colors that work well together. Now, these Artix acrylic markers, they are a little bit streaky. If that bothers you, just be aware of it. Usually that sort of thing really doesn't bother me too much. I don't know. It's a sketchbook, I very much try to not be overly precious with it. And it doesn't bother me. I don't know what to say. These sketchbooks have gotten more expensive. I think it's like $26, $27 for one of them now on Amazon. And as much as I love them, I don't know how many more I'm going to be buying. They're quite expensive. I do have this one and I have one more, also a Zeta series. And once I have filled both of them up, I just don't think I'm going to be buying any more unless the price goes down. Because, $26 is an awful lot to pay for one sketchbook, even if you can use both sides of the paper the way you can with these. When I do look for sketchbooks, that is one thing I always look for, is a sketchbook where I can use both sides of the paper. That's also why I don't use alcohol markers, is because, sketchbooks have gotten so much more expensive these days. I can't spend that kind of money and then only use one side of the paper for my sketches. I'm just going around the dragonfly now, just making it pop out just a bit more against the background there. I did briefly think about going over it again in a very bright color just outside those black lines and just making something very retro, very bold, but in the end I decided I wasn't going to do that. That's my little Tombow mono eraser, and believe it or not, it erased the little bits of gel pen peeking out. It erased them right up. Pretty neat. You're gonna spot a mistake I make, but don't worry, I fix it. And maybe it'll give you guys a little idea for how to fix similar mistakes. Pay very close attention to the words that I'm writing down, and it should jump right out at you. This is a quote by Georgia O'Keeffe, by the way. She was a painter back in the day. I always try to include a quote on my sketchbooks. Just something nice, something I look at, something I can see whenever I open up my sketchbook. So have you spotted it yet? You see the shapes? It's actually shaps. That's what I wrote down there. That's a huge mistake, and I have not seen it yet, but I do, thankfully, I do see it at the end, and I think I did a pretty good fix for it, bearing in mind that these are acrylic markers, and it's pretty much permanent when they go down. You gotta know what year your sketchbook is in, folks. And there you can see I'm fixing it. I just changed that S to an E and added another S. That looks very weird. So I've decided that I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna make both of them colored. First, I thicken all the lines so that they're all the same thickness, and then I add a color on top to really make it jump out. That way it looks intentional. Mistakes are gonna automatically come whenever you're making art, and what you need to know is how to fix it. How would you hide it? How do you make it look intentional? I thought that was a pretty good fix. It's still a little bit too close to the word next to it, but that's not nearly as big a mistake. Anyway, that's all I got. Lita out.